This is Kimberly Quinn, host of the Mindcraft podcast, and I can't tell you how much fun I have had doing this podcast. I started when the world closed over the pandemic in an attempt to spread some positivity out there and give people some strategies to enhance their own well-being and reduce anxiety and all of that. Now, 2 years later, we're still going strong and now listened to by 52 countries across the world. And I've even helped some of my students get going with their own podcasts. It's super easy to do. And I'll tell you, if you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it is the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. I'll just explain for you. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It is a ball. Start today. Greetings, Mindcrafters, and welcome to another Mindcraft podcast episode. My name is Kimberly Quinn. I just love doing this. I have to tell you that. I'm not too good at faking anything, as anyone who knows me would attest to. And if I didn't love it, I wouldn't be doing it. I'm just thrilled to have this chat today about living from your own greatness. Okay, so this is deep. My inspiration today is from Wayne Dyer, who is one of my greatest teachers on this earth. He says since past, but his spirit continues to touch people by the gazillions via his books and also his the translations of that onto YouTube. But anyway, one of his books is called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. And you know I'm all about that. That is basically the foundation of Minecraft, right? That is the foundation. It's the bricks, becoming the boss of your brain, and also changing thoughts to things and manifesting all of that stuff. And so he starts out with the 25th verse of the Tao Te Ching. So I'm going to read it. It's deep. It's good. So here it comes. There was something formless and perfect before the universe was born. It is serene, empty, solitary, unchanging, infinite, eternally present. It is the mother of the universe, for lack of a better name. I call it the Tao. I call it great. Great is boundless. Boundless is eternally flowing, ever flowing. It is constantly returning. Therefore, the way is great, heaven is great, earth is great, people are great. Thus, to know humanity, understand earth. To know earth, understand heaven. To know heaven, understand the way. To know the way, understand the great within yourself. So, just to do my usual disclaimer, I do not get into talking about religion with anybody. Not here, not on the Minecraft YouTube, not in person in my life anywhere, and unless we're talking having some kind of academic conversation, comparing, different traditions or something like that, that's in the context of, academia. So if you're getting nervous about that, don't be, or go ahead and be nervous. That's not what's coming. We're talking about the divine connection, label it source, higher power, universe, God, however you want to. It's just that connection, that infinite connection, or that connection of infinite intelligence and love and all that. This is where our own greatness is. And it's kind of like when we think of ourselves separate from that, that's when we get just kind of temporarily pinched off from everything good. Because it's that connection that also feeds into our own individual, greatness. Think of it like, this just came to me, this visual, like beads on a necklace. There's the underlying thread. It might be gold. It might just be wire. Like you go to sometimes the islands have these beautiful beaded necklaces that aren't necessarily valuable in the jewelry world, but they're absolutely gorgeous to look at and handmade. So picture, bead and then thread and bead and then thread and bead and then thread. And each one of us is a bead. The thread is divinity, right? Well, however you want to label that. So what we're going to do is talk about tapping into and residing in your own greatness. And so Wayne starts off here. He says, the story appears to want the reader to realize a pure timeless energy that's within everything on the planet and that remains uncontaminated by the solid appearance of form. The conclusion is a directive to the student, who is you, the reader. To know this formless perfection, you must understand the great within yourself. You are the central character in this wonderful saga. And as many of through different episodes when I talk about different things we do in Minecraft, part of the course Minecraft, remember it's a D, not the video game, right? About basically optimal human functioning and life satisfaction. That's the blurb in the catalog. So it's about creating the life you want to live, and in order to do that, to live your best high vibe self, your best high vibe life, we've got to tap into this connection and realize that we are, sort of navigating our own boat. What's behind us is the wake. Don't care anymore, right? We are being powered by the energy of the moment. So Wayne, years before Minecraft was even a course, tapped into what we're doing in Minecraft, and obviously I'm tapping into what he did because we're right on the same wavelength. And I only wish I could have had lunch with him. It would have been a very lengthy lunch. I can only imagine he probably had some pretty insane, crazy, good energy going on. And he teach so another main theme of Minecraft, right, is thoughts come first and feelings come second. We know that to be true, and then behavior. So without question, which is what his book is about. He's got a large splash of the Tao here, which just enhances everything. Is that how we think, so shall we be, which is a Wayne Dyer quote actually from somewhere. I'm not looking at it this minute, just kind of rolled out of me because I listened to him so much, but it is true. So, and he also says, when we change the things we look at, the things we look at change. So we're talking about creating your life, being the sculptor of your life as a moving statue, right? The author of your own script, the captain of your own ship. Put it any kind of way. This is what we're talking about. So then Wayne says, since you're animated by the eternal Tao, this tale's message of greatness invites you to change the way you live and to see the life you're living change. You can begin to do so by examining thoughts and ideas that are inconsistent with this phenomenal observation made by Lao Tzu, which has been echoed by others throughout history. In her book, The Journey, which was published in 1954 by Lillian Smith, describes it like this: the need that one feels every day of one's life, even though one does not acknowledge it, she says, to be related to something bigger than oneself, something more alive than oneself, something older and something not yet born that will endure through time. And I've also added to my repertoire of great thinkers. I've recently, my rooftop friend, down in New York, turned me on to Abraham Hicks a long time ago, and I just, for whatever reason, I just didn't. It didn't catch me for some reason. I guess I wasn't ready. I don't know. And since then, I've been listening to her for the last, I don't know, a few months, I guess. And Abraham talks about, which is no big surprise, right? Some of these great thinkers are just saying the same thing in different words, different contexts, but they definitely all agree with each other. That Wayne Dyer talks about, being, what does he say? You can do so by examining thoughts and ideas that are inconsistent with this phenomenal observation of this, this sort of interconnection, right? And the way Abraham Hicks says it is that, your real self, your innermost being, the divine you inside, there's like a duality to it, I guess. When our, humanness is inconsistent with what our well-being is saying and which wants always what's best for us, it's that contrast that, that we need to kind of pay attention to because something's happening there. And as said in other episodes, and also talks about my friend Tom, did his dissertation, Synchronicity, which is so cool, and talking about the green lights and everything else. So he calls them the green lights. Oprah calls them whispers. Abraham, calls it your highest, most self. And then Wayne Dyer is talking about, the interconnection being the Tao that, flows through us all. They're all saying the same thing. So when there's contrast, it's like we're being nudged in a different direction by our innermost being, source, God, higher power, universe, however you want to say it. and how important it is to listen to that. So then Wayne says that enduring, in quotes, something confirms your greatness, your absolute connection to the infinite. There's a sense of being permanently aligned with a sort of senior partner that is greatness itself. So I'm going to just skip down a little bit because I certainly don't. You can certainly buy the book and read the whole thing, right? The idea is certainly not to. The idea is to kind of take someone's work and then make commentary on it with insight and and add some wisdom from other places. That's sort of the point. So Wayne then says, your greatness won't be found in a classroom, an apprenticeship, a teacher, or flattering comments from well meaning family members, friends, or lovers. It is within you. It's crucial for you to become conscious of the greatness that constantly flows through you. To do so, meet in meditative moments of gratitude and cease to be influenced by contrary points of view. God, oh my gosh, this just is so great because again, so many people are saying the same thing. So Wayne Dyer, in a different, different YouTubes, different books, different everything, talks about how we need to be independent of the good opinion of others, even the good opinion of others. It doesn't mean we don't like it when people say compliments. It doesn't mean we don't like it when we gain kudos or awards or people say nice things about whatever and accomplishments. The difference is when we are our best authentic selves, that all feels good and we appreciate it, but we don't need it. That is a big clincher. Needing it is all about the ego, which is the evil twin of the authentic self. So here we're talking about the authentic self. So when he says your own greatness, we're talking about your authentic self. This is already within you. We don't need compliments. We don't need approval externally because we are within our frame of greatness. We don't need any of it. Does it feel good? Yes. Do we need it? No. And then he says, in particular, watch and listen for the critical moments that originate from your own inner dialogue. When such when such thoughts emerge in your mind, let them tell you what they want. If you allow those not so great notions to speak, you'll always discover what they really want is to feel good. Give them the time they need to trust that there's no payoff in their existence. Talking about the ego here, right? And they will happily merge into the greatness within you. Accessing this quality allows you to participate in the greater whole, where the power of the Tao unimpeded by fear, where the power of the Tao flows unimpeded by fearful self-judgment. Change the way you live by tapping into this greatness, and the life you're living will literally change. I love that. So again, the fear of self-judgment, any self-judgment is coming from the ego. The ego just wants to be fed, 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 and it's insatiable. It's like trying to water flowers with a watering can that has a hole in the bottom. You feed it a little, it grows a little, the ego expands, and then it just constantly is just needing more and more and more. Where the authentic self, feeling whole and complete, exactly how he, she, or they is or are, we don't need that. It just kind of, and so he says, change the way you live by tapping into this greatness, this wholeness, this completeness that is the authentic self, and the life you're living will literally change. And I'm going to skip to another part right now, and this is amazing because Wayne Dyer, in other contexts and other talks a lot about we are not our form, which I think can really help us to empathize too. We can realize when we see somebody looking different in any other way, no matter how you can, whether it's a wheelchair, whether it's their clothing, whether it's piercing tattoos, whether they have some kind of something that may be labeled, um, a like a disformity, which I don't, do that word, but I'm just saying if they're missing a limb or they're whatever, they just look very different, or they've got, whatever, too tall, too short, whatever, just fill in the blank. It's important to remember this, that we are not our form. We are human beings. Sorry, said it backwards. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And it's when he said that way back when that really stuck with me. He was telling a story about himself, and it was somebody who was severely, quote unquote, malformed or disformed, or again, I don't like those words. He was out on a beach someplace in California or something, and he just reminded himself in that minute with this person who looked so severely different, with a body so misshapen, reminding himself that the spirit within that body is absolutely perfect. They just look different, and it can throw us sometimes with how we treat people. We don't have our head in the right space of their spirit is perfect. This body situation is temporary, right? So then he says, trust in your own greatness. You are not this body you occupy, which is temporary and on its way back to nowhere. Sorry, which is temporary and on its way back to the nowhere from which it came. You are pure greatness. I just want to say that again because it feels so good. You are pure greatness, precisely the very same greatness that creates all of life. Keep this thought uppermost in your mind, and you'll attract to yourself these same powers of creation. The right people will appear, the exact events you desire will transpire, the financing will show up. That's because greatness attracts more of its own self to itself, just as thoughts of inadequacy act upon a belief that ensures that deficiency will become your reality. Affirm the following to yourself over and over until it becomes your automatic inner response to the world. Here it goes. You ready? I come from greatness. I attract greatness. I am greatness. I'm going to say that again. Here's the mantra. I come from greatness. I attract greatness. I am greatness. And this is so wild because I've had a life full of synchronistic experiences, just full. And I've got ones going on currently, and it's so nice to have a friend a friend and colleague who I can openly. Tom and I, my friend who's he did his dissertation on synchronicity actually, which is just wild. He and I, and we've been friends and colleagues for a while now, some years. We both teaching at Champlain, and we're obviously both affiliated with there. He's since semi-retired, but he's still affiliated. And we're doing 2 projects right now. They're all about spirituality, meaning, and experience. We're exactly the topic we're talking about right now in this episode. And we just said it last week after one of our workshops that wow, we've known each other for years, and we had little side talks, and we'd stop and talk about things. But we've been like kind of thrown together at this point because we are both, in such the same track that it's insane. I mean, it's so clearly, it was in the universe's time. Excuse me again, I have the hiccups. It's in the universe's time that we're together. And we are so on the same page, so on the same wavelength. We are energetically riding on the same high-flying frisbee. And it's a really wild feeling. And it's also, like I said, it's so cool to be able to talk about it with someone openly without feeling like, ooh, that, they're going to get all weird or something. Oh, because no, we just know that we are spot on right where we're supposed to be right now with each other. We've been thrown together to do some big things. And the workshops and the projects we're doing are just, I'll fill you in later. I don't want to say too much right now because they're in the works, but they're going really, really well. And it's because we are both in receptive mode. Neither one of us is really taking the credit for any of it. This is all, this divine connection pulling us together and making it happen, and then we're keeping it real, and that's it. So, lastly, Wayne Dyer says to look out for the disbeliefs, because we got to talk back to those. It's very important. And he says, catch yourself in the midst of any utterance that reflects your belief that you're average. Silently speak warmly to that belief and ask it what it wants. It may be that it has to protect you from disappointment or pain, as it probably did earlier in your existence. But with continued accepting attention, the feeling will always eventually admit that it wants to feel great. So let it. You're good enough to withstand the passing disappointments and pain that afflict life on this planet. But trying to protect yourself from believing that you don't embody greatness is overkill. Got to talk back to that. Remember the whole hard drive thing with the unconscious mind. It's about 95 to 96% of everything we do and that we think, feel, and do is coming from the unconscious. So we got to reprogram that. Otherwise, the same old stuff's going to keep happening to you because the unconscious drives the bus. That's just how it is. So we've got to acknowledge, and we're going to say the mantra one last time, and then we're going to hang up, okay? This is how it goes. So he says, affirm the following to yourself over and over until it becomes your automatic, that's the unconscious, right? Your automatic inner response to the world. Here we go. I come from greatness. I attract greatness. I am greatness. All right, this is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the beautiful northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.